now. It's a beautiful sunrise this morning, it really is. There's a little bit of pink left in it, there's some orange. We got some clouds today. Haven't had a lot of those in the mornings or at all here in East Texas lately. This part of East Texas anyways. So it's nice to have that cloud cover again. And the little bit of drizzle that came with it. You know, had a cousin call me yesterday, needed a ride, just down the road and back. And no, I'm not supposed to drive because seizures, that sort of thing. But I'm back at the point that I'm trying small distances. Have been for a couple of months now. Started out with someone else with me, and now it's up to small distances by myself. And yes, it's nerve-wracking to an extent. But I say a prayer and go with God, just like I was doing before they got back. Only this time I'm on some serious, stupid medications, but I ran him to his friends and then back home, and we sat around and talked. How you doing? I was kind of going over what happened yesterday. But, oh, I've seen a lot of coyotes. Both the furry kind, and I've seen a couple of the flesh-colored coyotes as well. Didn't stay around the Mexico region long enough to understand as a kid what was going on. But no, I've actually shot a few furry coyotes. They chase deer off. They tear up a lot of crap. If you got chickens or anything like that, they'll try to get your chickens if they're hungry enough. Turtles are pretty cool. I got a neighbor up the road has a tortoise that they've had for several years now. Several cousins have all raised little red ear sliders and then set them loose in my granddad's pond, down my uncle's pond. Like I said, like I say all the time, I grew up in the woods. I was in town when I had to be, but I prefer the woods. I just do. And there's a reason for that. There's a couple of different lizards that have a bluer tongue, but there's one, I forget which, but it's rather venomous with that blue tongue. But I watch a lot of different documentaries, or I used to anyways. And Now I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I troll a lot of podcasts. I don't lie. I do my best not to lie. And yeah, I troll a lot of podcasts. Heck yeah. Australia's one I thought real hard about, but I got enough trying to kill me over here. I don't need to be on an island where 70% of the wildlife can kill you. A beautiful scenery. I've seen a lot of amazing pictures, but I minimize your risks, I guess. I've, I've seen a few spiders. One of my favorite was the camel spider. If you're gonna come in and tell me not to smoke, then you might want to just go ahead and leave. I, that's just a comment I've had too many times. But this is America, land of the free, right? I mean, I could just go sit in the Catholic Church and wait until they wave their little smoky ball past my lungs, right? Fill your corridor with smoke. That's what they do. The only thing that makes this unhealthy, well, the biggest thing that makes this unhealthy is the chemicals they're allowed to dump in them. So, there are a lot of blue tongues, man. But I had a real good discussion about history with my cousin yesterday. Because he understands a portion of it, but he's mad for the wrong reasons. And we discussed the Bible with him. Him and his son are starting to get into reading that Bible. And so I pointed him to a couple of verses that will help him out. We Googled and found the book, and he sat down and read it after I left, as far as I know. Every family suffers. My extended family, has been suffering for a while now. My aunt died in 2002, just a little younger than I am now, because of lung cancer, because she smoked for 30-something years. But one of the younger brothers took it harder than the rest. I don't blame him for that. I haven't seen any tornadoes anytime soon. Or anytime recently, rather. But he's been taking it hard ever since. Pissed off at the wrong reasons. And he kind of took it out on his kids, in a way. he just shut down. And that middle child, it hurt him. And I understand why. Because everything changed overnight. And people want to hold on to things because you never know when it's going to be taken from you. Whether that be people or objects. You just don't want to let go. And I explained to my cousin yesterday, man, I've already let go a long time ago. 2020, more specifically, November 24th. I couldn't remember that date until I realized I woke up on my son's birthday. I talked to him about that on occasion, and he says, Dad, well, it's kind of hard to comb bread, but I brush it out, and then I kind of bring it together. You don't like it? Don't look at it. It's not my problem. How you doing, Tess? But kids get hurt easier than you think they do. Because it doesn't take a lot to mentally scar a child. I mean, they through movies and television and everything else, they try to tone that down as much as they can. I mean, child of the 80s and 90s, I saw a lot more than I should have at the age that I saw it. But that's the American way. And boy, are we proud of it. Had some discussion online. One of the threads got taken down eventually because, well, I just don't give up. I should. I have before. But I'm not allowed that anymore. But the town that I just moved from last year, in the high school, the kid my daughter knew was having an affair with a teacher. Well, he was a football coach. And as far as I know, he was a married football coach too. But I haven't followed it that closely. Regardless, he was a football coach at the high school, sleeping with a student. Now, admittedly, He waited until that student turned 18, by all stories that I've heard. But she was still a student. Now, when I was in high school, we had a football coach marry a girl that graduated from his class, but he waited until after high school, as far as we know. I, again, and then I hear Americans all the time how it's so disgusting that Muslims marry kids. And I really start to piss a lot of Christians off when I tell them I would rather see them marry that child and keep her as a bride than to let some preacher or youth director or teacher take a kid to the back room of the church or the school or wherever they feel like and fuck them and then drop them because we're done with you now. We got what we wanted. And fuck that kid's head up for the rest of their life. But they learn from some of the best. I mean, the Catholics have been doing it since that empire began. So, I mean, when in Rome, right? I stay frustrated. I don't drink anymore. Thank you, though. I'm doing great. And if I really wanted it around this part, shine's not that hard to come by. You just gotta know the right person. I'm a fan of no man. Bottom line, I don't idolize people. I'm not sure why everybody does. I try to be self-sufficient, but I'm not. I'm a disabled veteran. You pay for me to buy my cigarettes. I try to be as self-sustaining as possible, but in America, there's no such thing as self-sufficient because you're always dependent on somebody. Somebody's got to give you a job. Who said I'm jealous? I mean, that's your claim, that I'm jealous because I don't idolize people. Well, you're welcome, I guess. If you knew how I felt about that service, you wouldn't be saying that, because, well, my service was to a bunch of liars. Okay, yeah, no, I'm not jealous. I want nothing these people have. I don't even like being up doing this. This is my therapy. You see, when your brother offends you, you should take that offense to your brother, and your brother should apologize. Or if you offend your brother, you should run to him and apologize. So many politicians claim to be brothers in Christ. They have no clue what that actually means, but they'll make that claim. Why? Because it gets approval. And that's all they care about is your approval. That's it. Again, I was talking about the sexual exploits of American preachers and pastors and politicians and everyone else, school leaders, and they're disgusting. And when Christians start trying to tell me how Muslims are so horrible, the only response I can even come up with anymore is, well, at least they marry those little girls. She'll at least be taken as a bride and put into service in a house and not fucked in the head and dumped on the street. Because when you're 18, you're out of your parents' house. Hey, you're a grown adult. You better figure it out. I mean, that's the good conservative way. And yes, I give Tucker Carlson a rash of shit. Because he's an imperialist Catholic. And doesn't even understand what he says. Because all he knows is empire. That's it. You build your empire through wealth. How did the Catholics build it? By trading with the same Muslims they claim to have been fighting the whole time. That's just historical fact. Same with the Orthodox. They traded with their enemies everywhere. But when their enemies wouldn't give in to their demands, well, then they had to fight them. That's what empires do. But you don't worship an empire. You worship the truth, right? You just have to do it within your empire, or else you're sinful and you're hideous and you don't deserve to breathe their air because you're not superior like them. The time to make a change is past. It wasn't even our chance to make a change. Why? Because our government doesn't even run our government. And if you don't believe that, you're a bigger moron than I thought you were. I tell people all the time, every chance I get, go back and follow the money. But don't just follow it through the banking empire that controls the markets here in America. You got to go deeper than that. And the deeper you go, the darker it gets. talked to a friend of my cousin's last night that is still in the reserves, has an opportunity to deploy somewhere. And he told me he was deployed somewhere when shit was getting hectic in the beginning of all this. I'm sure that was an interesting day. The ones he was involved in, anyways. But in a way, he let me know we're not as well off as they would like you to believe. That's why they're arresting people for telling the truth. Because it projects an image of weakness. And, well, the greatest country on earth could never be weak. How are y'all doing? Thanks for joining. Except this country is weak. Saw a clip yesterday. A little YouTube reel or Facebook reel, I don't know. Somebody had sent it to me, but kids are being kids again. There's kids out there that are riding dirt bikes and bicycles and four-wheelers and they're doing kid stuff in this country again. That's a beautiful thing to me. I can't tell you how many skint knees and ripped jeans I got yelled at over and all kinds of crap because I was a kid. I had some friends that just sat around playing video games, and that's all they want to do anymore. A few of them are disgusted with reality. But they can't bring themselves to take themselves out. And I don't blame them a bit for that. That takes a certain amount of courage and a certain amount of weakness all at the same time. Part of the reason ancient cultures used to teach death before dishonor. Because it's better to end your own life than to dishonor your family. America damn sure doesn't teach that. I did it because I was dishonorable. And for part of the time, I thought I was doing the right thing. Again, We all make our choices, and then we have to live with them. Or we don't get the opportunity to live with them. I kind of got stuck with mine. But a lot of people are. I explained to my cousin yesterday, my mom. She's had so many strokes now that she can barely walk when she can walk. 90% of the time, she's sitting in a wheelchair or her recliner because it takes everything she has just to move from one to the other. The only thing keeping her here right now is a little battery. And she made the decision to sign a DNR. A lot of the family was upset about that. I was thankful. Because as much as I love my mom, that battery is keeping her here to suffer. It's a decision she made. I didn't tell her to get it. I explained that to her a few months ago, why I see it the way I do, and all she could do was nod her head. She doesn't try to argue with me as much as she used to. My dad, on the other hand, boy, he will prove he's right until the day he's dead. But most of my family is that same way. All they know is I'm right and you're wrong because I'm big and you're little. Well, I'm not that little anymore. He won't try to smack me down because he knows I'm not going to put up with it. But he does get frustrated. That's his problem, not mine. Which kind of segues into a comment I made yesterday on Mosadario Nawfal's YouTube channel. If America's not going to be paying these fees that are being paid to Iran for this Strait of Hormuz stuff, why does it matter to America what happens? That's somebody else's problem, right? I mean, what, the fear that they're going to have money that you don't have? Is that what it is? Or the fear that they could do the same things with their money that you've done with theirs? Because, well, a lot of the money that has been spent, they claim is sitting somewhere in holding, but that money's sitting in holding somewhere, earning whatever it earns, and those proceeds are used elsewhere. That's just the way that shit works, because they're not going to let them have any more than what was promised. Not even the interest, because, well, It's kind of how usury works. We get the interest, not you. And yes, I am 1,000% against usury. If you can't make a living off of your own labors, what good are you? What use are you? If you have to start a large business, sure, through your own manual labor, but get to a point that you just come and go as you please, while everyone else works a shift that you once helped in. I can't see you as a proper boss. I've worked for a few small companies, one of them claiming to be highly Christian because they go to a Baptist church and that's where they give their money. Even though that Baptist church is one of the most disgusting in the area, but and the owner of that company, yes, built that company through hard work. And I didn't mind working hard. I enjoyed it for the most part. Other than the fact that you had no vacation time. They eventually added benefits, from what I understand. I haven't worked for them in a long time now. Thank him, because, well, they're insanely greedy. I'll put it that way. True Americans. There's a lot of crap in this country that claims to be God-led. And no, you're led by your own desires. Whether you accept truth or not, you're still led by your own desires. Holy men don't understand that. They accept it, but, well, now they lean on a higher power, and so what they do is divine at that point, because, well, your actions don't matter. It's your heart and the heart that you do it with, right? Christianity's twisted logic of justification is disgusting. It just is. don't I don't care if I hurt your feelings. I just don't. Nobody's ever given a shit if they hurt mine. So through action or word. So but when I'm out in the world, I do my best to not offend you with my actions. Sure, I smoke cigarettes. If you're that offended, well, sucks to be you. Because there's a lot worse you could be offended by. But you aren't offended by those. People dressing 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds, damn near as strippers, and telling them, get out there and shake your ass for the judges, because that's how you succeed in life. I'm talking about cheerleading and things like that, but it's what you do with your own kids. You sexualize your own kids and then get mad because people look at them in a sexual manner. I understand getting mad looking at them like that, because no, I don't like it either. But to put the temptation in their face and then get mad at them for acting on that temptation is insane to me. It just is. The fact that it's not to you tells me more about you than it tells me about me. Modesty was dead in this nation before I was even born. And that's just a statement of fact. You got to be proud of what God gave you, right? He gave you that body. You should be proud of that body. Again, I try, but I can't find joy in the nonsense everyone finds joy in. And that's frustrating for the people around me. I understand why. It's hard to enjoy things with someone that doesn't care for things. I get it. But sports don't entertain me. The only sport that it ever has been fishing. I can watch it, and I can do it, and I can enjoy that. For a time, I enjoyed the illusion of a great life. Until I dug in and really focused on what that book says. And I realized if you have a great life, it's not because you're a good person. And it's damn sure not because you're trying to do good things. It's because you're willing to overlook a lot of bad things to get what you want. Well, that was the last of the coffee. So, if you can't have a good day, have the day you deserve. I love you, folks.